Good day everyone. So I was busy with the Misty Dungeon and I was running a variation of my Inazuma national team. So instead of Kokomi, Raiden, Ayaka and Kujosara, I obviously had Mona. So one of the most interesting things to me about replacing Kokomi with Mona is exactly how much DPS loss we effectively have. This is despite the fact that Mona can buff the entire team's sort of damage with her Omen and also sort of in a quasi sort of sense freeze the enemies. It's not as effective as the jellyfish, but she can do a bit of that. And I think this again hammers down the point. Kokomi is a character that enables such aggressive DPS gameplay. So what do I mean by that? Well, what you'll see in the background is because we don't have a healer or a character that can essentially tank heavy enemy hits and heal up the team, we have to play very carefully. But the problem with playing very carefully and having to constantly iframe is that you lose stamina, which means you cannot do as many cool like charge attacks on, let's say, Raiden or Ayaka. And the other thing that it is by playing carefully, you're not getting that aggressive playstyle in. So you're losing out on energy generation, you're losing out on time on the clock, and it's just the tempo of gameplay feels slower, despite the fact that this team should theoretically have like a higher damage cap than if I had a C0 Kokomi right in here. And this is what I mean by aggressive playmaking. Because you've got Kokomi's jellyfish, you can effectively just let loose. You can just attack without having to worry, unless there is an attack that would otherwise like disrupt your gameplay. You can just quickly iframe, and any sort of environmental damage you don't need to worry about. So what happens with Kokomi is your health is like a resource, and Kokomi automatically manages your entire team's health resource without you needing to worry about it. But if you don't have that automatic health management, especially when all your characters are like now at C0 and so on, it becomes way harder. You've got to play way more carefully, way more tactfully. You've got to be way more like sort of knowledgeable of the enemy's attack patterns and all these sorts of things. So it's not just about Kokomi being a comfy character, it's the fact that she enables these aggressive rotations. And the other thing is because her jellyfish essentially lasts like 12 seconds, you don't need to worry about swapping off mid rotation and having to reshield with a different shield character. Even though you might, and you don't need to worry about like running after crystal shards and all these sorts of things just to get your team not to them die. This is the thing. Kokomi effectively extends the health pool of all your teammates, and by doing so via her jellyfish and of course her Nari's ascension, you can do a lot more. The other thing that not a lot of people think about is the fact that your team is also, in a certain sense, tied down to their cooldowns, which means you can, like for instance, with Ayaka, I can press my E, I can press my Q, but then that's it. Um, if you don't have a C6 Ayaka, you can't really fully utilize her normal and the charge attacks. So from a C0 perspective, once you've burned your cooldowns, you want to swap off to the next character and you want to swap off, but then you get at a point where you can almost like you're just waiting for the cooldowns to come back. And this is where Kokomi is so beautiful, because in that time you can just attack the enemies with Kokomi and you don't need to stay on field for the full 10 seconds. Even 5 or 4 seconds is still great. And that is what's so cool about Kokomi. You don't have any effective downtime. You can manage your resources way more actively. You can manage the aggression that you want to put on the field as well, way better than what you would have with Mona on the field. And that's what makes this character so powerful, is the fact that she can, with her consistent damage, effectively manipulate enemy health pools, and thereby you can plan out your rotation. She enables this aggressive DPS, which means your team can like pump out the elemental burst way quicker, way faster. You can do way more cooldown management. It is absolutely incredible how much Kokomi does for the team, and if there's an enemy that is going to hit you because you've run out of stamina, because you played yourself in a corner, well, you've got a tank that can effectively nullify all the damage that's been done to you. And that's just absolutely crazy. So this is what I mean when I say Kokomi enables way more than what people think. She is not just a E and a Q ability that you pop on the field. She does so much more. And what's so beautiful about the Ocean Youth Clam said is that Kokomi's now got off-field DPS as well. So while she is healing, and even if she overheals, it's not a liability. It adds up, it ticks up, it hits the enemies in an AoE. And what does that do? That reduces the breakpoints for you clearing out enemies, especially lots of small mobs. And if you can get those breakpoints cleared, then you can generate more energy, which means your rotations are going to be way faster and enabled and in effect it enables you to do a lot more. That is what's so cool about Kokomi. Even when she's not on the field, she is contributing, and it's just insane how much value the character gets. And I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but you can get interrupted. Well, with Raiden on the team and with Kokomi herself, interruption's not that bad, and you can still get frozen if you're in a shield. The enemies can still move your character via their hitboxes if you're in a shield. The only thing that shields do is they do provide that bit of interruption resistance, but other than that, they're not really as effective in enabling aggressive DPS gameplay as you would think, particularly if your shield breaks mid-rotation. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about. For me, the difference between Kokomi and Mona is just night and day. Even at C0, it is just absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's it for this episode, guys. Stay safe. Cheers.